Hey guys, it's the Joker here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a how to play on Kylo Ren, probably one of, if not my favorite villain to play in Star Wars Battlefront 2. His abilities make him one of the most overpowered characters to play, and using Frenzy on groups of infantry never gets boring. Now, before we start the video, I want you guys to comment down below what your favorite dark side hero is, and if you'd be interested in seeing me ranking all of the dark side heroes in Battlefront 2 as of right now. But with that, this video is going to cover his strengths and weaknesses, as in where he excels and what maps you probably shouldn't be using him in, all of his abilities, and the right star card setups to use for Kylo Ren. Starting off, we're going to be talking about Frenzy, probably his most infamous ability for its massive damage to infantry classes. Now, there are two things that this ability description doesn't tell you about this ability, and that's that when it's activated, not only do you have increased damage resistance, but it also increases your damage output. Meaning that using this when there are many infantry around you basically guarantees you'll have more than enough damage output and defense to take enough blaster shots, and to deal your fair share of damage back to them. Meaning this ability can also be used as a crutch if you're extremely low on health and need to stop taking as much damage as you are, but if you see no way out of your current scenario. This is basically like a bonus health tool that is also very useful in scenarios against heroes, because that bonus damage means everything when you're fighting off another lightsaber hero. Now let's move into his next ability, which is Freeze, and this freezes all players within the radius, as long as they're not blocking if they're a hero, in place for a few seconds. This can be very useful when you're taking on large groups of opponents, as being able to pick them off one by one reduces the damage dealt to Kylo Ren and means he's able to stay in the fight much longer. It's also very helpful when fighting off heroes, because it means you can freeze one hero, or two if they're right next to each other, and focus on the one that's not frozen. That way you don't have to worry about two attacking you and draining your stamina quicker. This can also be used to freeze heroes in midair or jet troopers and deal damage to them before they're able to really react, as when a hero's frozen in midair, they cannot deal any damage to you, making this a very powerful ability if you use it correctly. It can also be paired with Frenzy for some massive damage output on large groups of infantry frozen in front of you. Finally, Kylo Ren has the pull ability, which is pretty self-explanatory. It pulls everyone in front of him who's not blocking directly towards him and allows him to swing. This can also be used with Freeze to freeze them in midair, and then you can pair it up with Frenzy to deal some massive damage like we just did. This is a very powerful ability combo, and most of his abilities work very well with each other and have many different uses. Depending on how you play the game, Kylo Ren usually has a way to use his abilities that'll match your playstyle perfectly. Now with that, let's move on to the star cards you should be using if you're playing as Kylo Ren. And to start off, we have the Closing In star card. Now, as we've talked about, Frenzy is one of his most powerful abilities, and it can be paired with all of his other abilities to deal massive damage. But that's why Closing In is such a powerful star card, as it allows Kylo Ren to leap longer distances when in his Frenzy attack, meaning he can close the distance between blaster, villains, or just infantry classes much quicker, meaning he reduces the damage taken and can increase the damage output in a faster amount of time. It's also very good when fighting off heroes, because it means that he can also dodge their attacks while he's going from person to person, making it much harder to kill Kylo Ren and very useful in most all scenarios. Now moving on, the next star card we have Harsh Pull. Now this is an ability that increases the damage dealt by Kylo Ren's pull ability, and if you fight off a half-health infantry, most infantry classes that is, unless Vanguard's equipped on the assault class, it can almost give you an instant kill, making the push ability a very powerful one, because it can damage heroes when you pull them towards you before you even begin the fight with them, putting them down on health and possibly past their health regeneration point. And finally, the last star card I can recommend for Kylo Ren is Bloodlust, as it works with the Closing In star card and really increases Frenzy's damage greatly. It increases the number of strikes you can do, and with the other one, it increases their range, meaning that on top of moving faster and dealing more damage, you can attack much more, making Frenzy probably one of the strongest hero abilities in the game, tying with Palpatine's dark side energy ability. Now with that, let's talk about scenarios Kylo Ren excels in, and ones he does not. Now Kylo Ren is probably one of, if not the greatest close quarters villains. His freeze ability allows him to take on entire hallways of enemies without any fear of taking blaster fire, because they'll all be frozen, and then he can use Frenzy to quickly cut them down and clear a path for his teammates to the other side of the map or wherever it is they're trying to go. He can also be useful in many other open maps, such as Kamino, Tatooine, and Kashyyyk, because he's able to use Force Pull to pull them off ledges and stuff. Especially on Kamino, he can be a very powerful villain, Seeing as most people who play heroes on Kamino like to jump from platform to platform, he can use his freeze ability to freeze them in midair, and then they cannot jump and they'll fall directly into the water, getting Kylo Ren the kill and not having to expense any of his health trying to fight off an enemy hero. Kylo Ren also really excels in large open maps that have lots of cover to hide behind. Hoth is an example of a map Kylo Ren excels excellently in, as half the map is a close quarters environment where he excels greatly, and the other half, while he is black and stands out into the snow, is very cover based. There's lots of trenches and stuff, allowing Kylo Ren to move very effectively and take on opponents one-on-one, meaning he doesn't have to worry about losing too much health when he's taking them on, and it basically gives him a very high competitive advantage against the other players, making Kylo Ren a very powerful villain in these maps. Now, speaking of that, there are some maps that Kylo Ren does not excel in, and while they are rare, they do exist. One of them being Crate. Kylo Ren does not excel on Crate, and that's for a magnitude of reasons. Now, when I said close quarters, I did mean like close quarters, like the inside of Kamino or the inside of Hoth. Those are really close quarters environments. The problem is, Crate is an example of one that doesn't have really close quarters indoors and has far too open outdoors. The outside of Crate is a large flat battlefield without very much cover, and while Kylo Ren does have a high blocking stamina, he doesn't have a very high blocking stamina. And so while he can deflect his fair share of blaster bolts back, after a while he's going to start taking damage, and it takes a while to reach cover on Crate due to how far apart the holes that lead into the trenches underground are, meaning that Kylo Ren is going to take massive amounts of damage probably before even reaching his first fight on Crate. And the inside of Crate is a very large interior, also not really aiding with his ability to take on people in close quarters environments, as they're more spread out on the inside of Crate. All in all, it's just a map that he does not excel in. And another map you could say he doesn't excel in is Geonosis, but that really comes down to how well you can play him. Kylo Ren excels in almost any map other than Crate, and if you can get past his steep learning curve, then I'm fairly certain you can become an excellent Kylo Ren player yourself. Now with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, possibly subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and tell me down below what you thought, and if you agree with anything I said in the video about Kylo Ren, or if there's anything you think I was wrong about, such as any other map you think he does not excel in. With that, I'm going to end the video here. Have an awesome rest of your day, guys, and this is J-Man the Joker signing off.